Bachi, good morning. Mental health, I mean, it is a Mental Health Awareness Month, and we come here every year, we talk about the same things, but it looks like we're not winning this war and managing ourselves very well when it comes to mental health in South Africa. I mean, I've just referred to this tweet that has gone out, posted on social media, it's going viral, people are talking about it. Another young man apparently has taken his life. We are in a very tough situation as a country when it comes to mental health, are we not?
Yes, thank you, Dan, for inviting me and for being able to talk about mental health, specifically around awareness. As we know, it is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it is quite a heavy topic. And we need to unpack, and make it lighter so that people understand mental health and more specifically the issues around it.
It's heavy, is it because of the stigma attached to it?
I think mental health is always seen as a health issue that requires medication and isolation, and there's fear around people who have a mental illness, and therefore people feel that it won't affect them. Now,
how bad is it in South Africa, broadly, from what you know from your organization as the Federation for Mental Health? How bad is mental health in South Africa?
Well, we know from the World Health Organization and the World Federation for Mental Health that 1 in 4 will be affected by mental health issues. So, every one of us will be affected in some way. The issue is around creating awareness and understanding so that it becomes a normal conversation for everyone.
Now, this year, it's World Mental Health Month. The theme is around suicide. And I opened my introduction to our interview talking about this particular case that's trending on Twitter. Now, is suicide a manifestation of mental health problems, or could be other factors involved?
Well, suicide is the end product of a mental illness. People are upset, they are saddened. Many people live with depression, and suicide is an act, it's a result of people feeling dismayed and there's no hope.
It's obviously a problem in society, as this case in point we're referring to now, that's trending on Twitter. What can we do?
Well, because the World Federation for Mental Health has decided to focus on suicide, the SA Federation for Mental Health wants to look at the younger generation. If you look at who has access to social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, it is the young person aged between 15 and 29 years old. And we want to look at social media and its role with regard to suicide. Like you're saying today on Twitter, people will post. Some people post suicide ideation in the hope that someone will reach out to them and help them. And sometimes we're too late.
What does it do when we retweet? I'm told, I haven't looked at this tweet that's apparently trending of this young man. I'm sure some people, besides commenting on it, might be retweeting it. Would something like that help, or should we be using social media in a different way as part of a mental health strategy?
Yes.
That we empower the young people and society in general?
Exactly. So this year, the SA Federation for Mental Health will be focusing on institutions of higher learning, going out there, speaking to the young citizens, engaging with them, and looking at, we need to understand by retweeting, what does it mean for the young person? Is it encouraging more people to do that? Is it, you can't laugh at something like that. You can't sensationalize suicide.
I saw another article that said, as we're marking Mental Health Awareness Month, South Africa is the 5th most depressed country in Africa. So many of us might be sitting with a mental health problem and not being aware that it's a mental health problem, or not taking any action. I mean, from an awareness perspective, what can organizations like yours do?
So the idea is to be able to open the conversation, normalize it in every day. When you go home, it's about talking to your children, talking to your spouse, talking to your colleagues at work.
Are there signs you should look out for that think, hey, maybe I'm getting, this is depression, as an example?
Well, definitely. If you know the person and you're close to the person and you are noticing symptoms, that this is not normal for the person not to be up this early in the morning. It's not normal for the person not to exercise, or it's not normal for the person not to go to work. Then you need to start opening up the conversation and saying, what can I do? This is not your normal behavior. Is there something that upsets you?
So we need to be able to reach out and help each other. When you pick up any behavioral type of unusual behavioral change, and then what do you do next? Do you have to take your loved one or your friend, whoever you've noticed, your colleague, or you have to go to somebody? Because some organizations and some companies have got wellness programs, they've got wellness officers, and they've got access to counselors and so on.
Yes, the idea is to be able to seek help. You assist the person that's closest to you to say, let me come along with you. Let's go and find out what this is all about.
Now, for you, and as we conclude here, I mean, do you have a suicide crisis line, crisis line, for example?
Well, in the country, the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, they have a crisis line, a suicide crisis line, and the number is 0800 567 567.
Straightforward, 0800 567 567. And it could save lives if you use it in case somebody you could think they want to take their own life and you reached out to them.
We need to encourage people to reach out. Either speak to someone closest to you. There is an anonymous helpline. Reach out, explain to the individual what your needs are, and then they will guide you as to where you can go to further get help.
Yeah, and the awareness must be created that around the stigma that suicide gives to not just the person who's taking their own lives, but to the remainder of the family members, because sometimes people just will paint the whole family with the same brush.
Well, exactly. You know, for every suicide committed, there's a family member or there's a group of family members as well as colleagues who are dealing with the aftermath of the suicide.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Bharti, for having come through. That's Bharti Patel. She's the National Executive Director of the South African Federation for Mental Health, just highlighting the seriousness of mental health.